Bom dia, gente. So we're going to do some review for the final on Friday at 1. If you watched the beginning of my last video, I said I would do this review and the Paradise Lost Book 12 review in the same video. I had some snafus at the end there, so we're separating them, and here we are. Let's jump in. So, for the exam on Friday, we will be going over the following text, basically everything after the midterm. And what that is everything after, not including after Antigone. Okay, so that is the Confessions of St. Augustine, that is the Consolation of Philosophy, that's the Inferno, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Hamlet, and Paradise Lost. Okay, I think the best way, if you hear nothing else, hear this. The best way to study for this is to make a list of the main characters of all of those, and like what's their thing? What is the thing of each of them? In other words, like what is their deepest heart's desire? So if I was doing it for the, the Aeneid, which I'm not doing, because the Aeneid was for the first half of the semester, not on this exam. But by way of example, if I was doing the Aeneid, I might include, I would, Aeneas. What's his thing? His thing is he wants to fulfill his destiny by founding Italy, right? By leading the Trojans to a new home. That's his thing, okay? What is Juno? Who is Juno? She's the queen of the gods. What is her thing? She wants to waylay Aeneas to the extent that she can. Okay, that's her thing. So that's be able to name for any given text, like here's the main characters and here's the role of each of those main characters. Here's the desire of each of those characters. Make sense? If you can do that, if you roll into this exam knowing all the main characters and like what they were after, who they were, what they were after, you'll be in a very, very good place. Okay. Now, those of you who have been showing up regularly and paying attention are going to have a huge advantage over people who have been paying less attention, which is to be expected, of course. Let's talk about the structure. The structure of the exam is identical to what you saw in the midterm. Okay, there's a multiple choice part. There's 15 multiple choice questions, and those questions will look so much like quiz questions that I've given you. I think some of them might literally be, don't quote me on that, but they're very, very close, okay? So this is just stuff major plot points, major character points that you will know having read these texts. And, you might need a refresher. You might need to go over your notes. You might need to, if you skipped anything, it would be great for you to reread it. If you did read it, maybe find a summary online, refresh your memory, okay? What can I say about this? The multiple choice questions. Again, I'm seeing a lot of questions about major characters, and what they wanted. It would be a great idea if you could name in the Inferno, for example, if you can name the circles. You don't have to know everything about everything, but can you tell me like the relative positioning of, say, lust versus treachery, betrayal, right? Hint, the ninth circle, the lowest one. And what kind of person is found in each. Now I said main characters. Inferno has so many characters, and you're not going to have to, like, I don't remember them. You don't have to remember all the names. Like Dante really gets into the weeds sometimes with recent history of Tuscany, which you don't have to know. But Dante, there's a main character. What does Dante want? He wants to learn what he can on his journey. He wants to understand more about the nature of hell, and therefore about the nature of divine punishment, and therefore about the nature of God himself. Who's his guide? You should know this, right? Virgil. Virgil is his guide. Virgil is doomed to the first circle of hell, the least bad circle of hell, as a virtuous pagan. Okay, a decent guy who did pretty well in his life, in Dante's view anyway, but who failed to put his hope, put his faith in Christ, didn't have the opportunity to do so, didn't know Christ, according to Dante. Now, he would have been contemporary with Christ, but he would have been older. Virgil. Or would he have been contemporary? Well, nearly. Anyway, he might have been just a little bit too old. In any case, we know that Virgil is damned to hell, but still not a terrible person, and they will meet terrible people in their journey, their guided tour of hell. Okay, the probably the piece that we read with the greatest amount of real main characters is going to be Hamlet. Okay, and not just Hamlet, not just who are the major people. There's Gertrude, Claudius, the king. But there are many characters. It would behoove you to create a list of all of them, and have some sense of relationships between these characters. What is Ophelia to Hamlet? What is Ophelia to Laertes? Who is Gertrude to Claudius? And so on and so on and so on. Okay, and what do each of them seem to want? Again, if you can name main characters and their desires and who they are and like what they want, you're in a great place. What I've said for Inferno, what I've said for Hamlet, of course, applies to all of our texts. Augustine, he is going to be the main character in his story. Who's the other? Are there any other main characters in the Confessions of Saint Augustine? His mother, I would say. As you will recall, the Confessions is such a literarily different genre than, say, like Hamlet or Gawain and the Green Knight. So it doesn't play out like a story. It's an autobiography, which was a new form at the time. And so who you really have to know there is Augustine. I highly recommend you knowing his religious journey. Okay, what did he start off believing? What did he believe as a young man? What did he believe in his older age, as he writes? These are all questions you should be able to answer with some specificity. Okay, there will be, in part 2, quote identification. Quote identification is what trips students up the most. When I select quotes for you to identify, I am picking things that are like major to those characters. So if someone says something about like, I want to fulfill my destiny, like that is, I picked it because like, again, I'm picking on Aeneas, who will, again, not appear in this exam. I'm selecting him because he's not on the exam. Somebody, I will fulfill my destiny and found a new home for the Trojans. That it like I would pick something like that because that is Aeneas's main thing. Okay, I'm not trying to throw you. I'm really not trying to find examples of quotes that are like ancillary, that are less important, that are like just kind of side things. I'm trying to find quotes that really capture personality. I'm trying to pick quotes that capture the character, the speaker's personality, and it's your job to tell me. I'll just read this verbatim. After each quotation, write the name of the character who uttered it, name of the character, and one sentence explaining its context. Okay, why did they say this? What just happened? What is the context here? And the example that I will give you, and again, I'm reading straight from the test. This is an example from again the Aeneid. I'm using the Aeneid like crazy today for examples. Here's the quote, let Aeolus ruffle in that hall alone and lord it over winds shut in their prison, end quote. This is, Neptune says this to rebuke Aeolus, if you remember, a wind god for whipping up a storm without Neptune's consent. That one would be really hard, because Neptune's not really a major character. He is an important character, but not a major character in the Aeneid. So that would be that's an example of what you should do. Neptune is the speaker, and why is he saying this? Because he has a problem with one of the lesser gods, one of, like he's kind of Aeolus's boss, if you want. He's saying, get in line, I'm in control, you know this, don't make me come down there. Okay, now that, like I said, that example would be way hard. I'm not going to give you one that's that hard. But that said, you might find them hard. Students do tend to find these hard. So I'm just looking over these quotes, and again, I really tried to make an effort to pick quotations that explain character, that are very in character. This character is like acting like this character acts. I talked about in Hamlet. I talked about there are a couple quotes that are like kind of off for him. Like he has these weird moments of wisdom. Okay, Hamlet is either brash, or he is too brash or too languid, too navel gazing, too depressed. He just sort of sits there and wallows and does nothing, or he moves too fast. Okay, but then he does have these moments where he's not merely, where he sort of splits the difference, where he is considering his life, the life of his friends, with something like wisdom. That's weird. Okay, that's not the quote I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Hamlet being Hamlet. If I did pick Hamlet, did I not? Okay, maybe he's one of these, but maybe not. Looking them over. Yep. Again, can't overemphasize this. Go into this exam knowing all your main characters, and knowing who they are, what they want, what's their whole thing about. Okay. What is Gawain's whole thing? What does he want out of life? Okay. Onward. Short essay. So you'll answer 2 of the following 3 prompts. Answers must be at least 6 full sentences. Okay, this is the largest single chunk of the essay. There's 3 parts. There's the multiple choice that is basically like quiz questions that you've had all semester. There's part 2, which is identifying quotes, and then there's short essays. You'll pick 2 of these 3. And just a note, by the way, you're going to have, 2 hours and 15 minutes for this exam. I designed it to take just shy of 1 hour, so you will have plenty of time. And if somebody always takes the full time. Will it be you? Somebody always takes the full time, but you should have way more than enough time to do this exam at your own pace. Okay, and I'm going to ask you, these questions are going to be pretty familiar to you. You know, like most of them, not most of them, all 3 of them are going to ask you, they're going to pick a topic, they're going to say, find characters that fit this topic from different texts, compare and contrast. Okay, they're all variations on that. Here's a topic, pick 2 characters, compare and contrast. Here's a topic, pick 2 characters, compare and contrast. Yep, 3 different themes. I'm not going to tell you what they are, because I want you to study. I want you to really know these texts, to know these main characters, to know the themes. That's something I haven't mentioned yet. The themes. What is the theme of these texts? What is the theme of the Inferno? Punishment, justice, right? There's other themes. That's a central theme. What is the theme of Sir Gawain? Well, honor would be pretty high up there, okay? What is the theme of Paradise Lost? How about hope? Sin, hope, redemption, all that stuff is baked in. Enmity, okay? The problem of evil, that's something we talked about quite a lot. The problem of evil. So these are, these are the things that it's in my head when I'm writing these questions. So major themes, be able to name them, be able to talk about them in an intelligent way. Again, the best thing to do to prepare for this class is to have shown up all semester and been a part of the conversation. Some of you have done a great job doing that. For those of you who have not done as great a job, you're going to need to reread, go over. It's very easy to find summaries online. I'm not against that. It's no substitute for reading, but it does help. And again, if we do have a couple days left. If you got questions, shoot them my way. Wish you the best. I almost made it to 15 minutes, went a little bit over. I'll cut here. Peace.